What if the cup of coffee you already drink every morning, the one sitting on your kitchen counter right now, could do something that doctors are charging thousands of dollars to prescribe? I know that sounds bold, but stay with me because what I'm about to share with you isn't a gimmick and it's not a shortcut. It's real science. And it's something I think every person over 60 deserves to know about. By now, you've probably heard of Ozempic. It's everywhere, on the news, in magazines. Your neighbors are talking about it. And yes, for certain people, it works. But here's the part they don't always tell you. The price tag can run over $1,000 a month. The side effects, nausea, muscle loss, fatigue, can hit older adults especially hard. And for most people over 60, it's simply not a realistic option. But here's what's fascinating. The reason Ozempic works, the actual biological mechanism behind it, can be nudged naturally. And three specific ingredients, when added to your morning coffee, activate those same pathways in your body. We're talking about reducing appetite, stabilizing blood sugar, slowing fat storage, and specifically targeting that stubborn belly fat that seems to appear out of nowhere after 60. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what those three ingredients are, why they work, and how to use them. This is practical. This is evidence-based. And I think by the end of this video, your morning coffee routine is going to look a little different in the best possible way. Let's get into it. Before we talk about the three ingredients, I want to take 2 minutes to explain what's actually happening in your body, because once you understand this, everything else will make perfect sense. After the age of 60, your body undergoes a hormonal shift that most doctors don't spend nearly enough time explaining to their patients. Cortisol, your stress hormone, tends to run higher. Estrogen and testosterone both decline significantly. And this combination sends a very specific signal to your body: store fat around the organs. That's what we call visceral fat. And it's not the same as the fat you can pinch under your skin. Visceral fat wraps around your liver, your pancreas, your intestines. It's metabolically active, meaning it releases inflammatory compounds into your bloodstream. It raises your risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cognitive decline, and more. And here's why it's so frustratingly hard to lose after 60. It's driven by hormones and insulin resistance, not just calories. This is exactly where Ozempic comes in, and more importantly, where natural alternatives come in. Ozempic belongs to a class of drugs called GLP-1 receptor agonists. GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide 1. It's actually a hormone your own body produces naturally, right in your gut. When GLP-1 is active, it does three powerful things. It tells your brain you're full, it slows down how quickly food leaves your stomach, and it signals your pancreas to release insulin more efficiently. The result? Less hunger, better blood sugar control, less fat storage. Now here's the key insight. Certain foods and compounds stimulate your body's own GLP-1 production. Others activate a complementary pathway called AMPK, your body's master metabolic switch, which tells your cells to burn stored fat for energy instead of holding onto it. These three ingredients we're about to discuss, they work on exactly these pathways. Not as powerfully as a pharmaceutical drug, I want to be honest with you, but for daily, consistent support, without the side effects, without the cost, and without a prescription, the science is compelling. Let's start with the first one. I want you to think about your spice cabinet for a moment. There's a good chance you have a jar of cinnamon sitting in there right now that you haven't touched in months. Maybe you use it on oatmeal occasionally, maybe around the holidays. Here's what you probably don't know, that cinnamon has a compound in it called cinnamaldehyde. And cinnamaldehyde is one of the most well-studied natural metabolic activators we know of. Here's how it works. Cinnamaldehyde activates an enzyme called AMPK, adenosine monophosphate activated protein kinase. I know that's a mouthful, so let me give you a simpler way to think about it. AMPK is like the fuel gauge sensor in your car. When it detects that your cells are low on energy, it flips a switch that tells your body to start burning stored fat. It also dramatically improves what scientists call insulin sensitivity, meaning your cells respond better to insulin, so glucose gets pulled into your muscles for energy instead of getting converted to fat around your belly. For someone over 60 who may have developed some degree of insulin resistance over the years, and most Americans in this age group have, even if they've never been diagnosed, this is significant. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that participants who supplemented with cinnamon showed meaningful reductions in abdominal fat, triglycerides, and fasting blood sugar compared to the control group. And these were individuals with pre-diabetes, which is extremely common in our age group. Now, here's where I need to make an important distinction, because not all cinnamon is the same. There are two main types. The one you most commonly find in American grocery stores is called cassia cinnamon. It's darker, stronger in flavor, and it contains higher levels of a compound called coumarin, which in large daily doses can stress the liver over time. The type you want for daily use is Ceylon cinnamon, sometimes called true cinnamon. It's lighter in color, slightly milder, and sweeter in flavor, and it contains only trace amounts of coumarin. You can find it at most health food stores, on Amazon, or increasingly at regular supermarkets. Just look for the label that says Ceylon or Cinnamomum verum. The practical application here is beautifully simple. Add 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon to your coffee while it's still hot. The heat helps disperse the oils evenly. You can stir it right in. It adds a gentle warmth and sweetness to your coffee. Many people find they need less sugar once they start doing this. 1/4 teaspoon every morning. That's it. I want to talk about what most people put in their coffee. A lot of my patients reach for creamer, often something flavored, often loaded with sugar and seed oils. And I understand it because black coffee isn't for everyone. But what if I told you there was something you could add to your coffee that makes it creamier, has almost no taste, and actually triggers the same hormonal pathway that Ozempic is built around? That's collagen peptides. Collagen is the most abundant protein in the human body. After 60, your body's natural collagen production drops significantly, and that affects your joints, your skin, your gut lining, and critically for our purposes today, your metabolic hormones. Here's the mechanism. Collagen peptides are rich in two specific amino acids, glycine and proline. When these amino acids reach your small intestine, they stimulate specialized cells in the gut wall called L cells. And L cells are the cells that produce and release GLP-1, the exact same hormone that Ozempic mimics. So when you consume collagen peptides, you are literally asking your own body to produce more of its natural appetite-regulating, blood sugar stabilizing hormone. You're working with your biology, not overriding it with a drug. There's another reason this matters enormously for people over 60, and it's something the Ozempic conversation almost never addresses: muscle loss. One of the most significant and underreported side effects of Ozempic is that people lose muscle mass along with fat. After 60, losing muscle is not a minor issue. It affects your balance, your strength, your metabolism, and your long-term independence. Collagen peptides, as a high-quality protein source, actively support muscle preservation during weight loss. Multiple studies have shown that older adults who supplement with collagen peptides while reducing caloric intake maintain significantly more lean muscle mass than those who don't. So you're getting GLP-1 stimulation and muscle protection in the same ingredient. That's a meaningful combination. Practical use. Get yourself a bag of hydrolyzed collagen peptides, unflavored. Brands like Vital Proteins, Great Lakes, or similar are widely available. Add 10 to 15 grams to your coffee. That's roughly 1 to 2 scoops, depending on the brand. Hydrolyzed collagen dissolves completely in hot or cold liquid. You will not taste it, you will not notice it's there, but your gut will. This one surprises people every single time because it's not exotic, it's not expensive. You can find it at any grocery store for just a few dollars. And yet, when I look at the research on belly fat reduction in adults over 60, very few things have a more consistent track record than flaxseed. Let me explain why. Flax seeds contain 3 distinct components that all work together to reduce visceral fat. The first is soluble fiber, specifically a type called mucilage. This fiber forms a gel-like substance in your digestive tract that dramatically slows how quickly carbohydrates are absorbed into your bloodstream. Slower absorption means lower blood sugar spikes. Lower blood sugar spikes mean less insulin released, and less insulin means less fat storage, particularly around the abdomen. The second component is lignans. Flaxseed is the richest dietary source of lignans on the planet, containing up to 800 times more than the next closest food. Lignans are phytoestrogens, meaning they interact with estrogen receptors in the body. For women after menopause and for men as testosterone declines, this hormonal modulation helps rebalance the hormonal environment that's driving visceral fat accumulation. Lignans also have meaningful anti-inflammatory properties, which matters because visceral fat and chronic inflammation feed each other in a cycle we want to break. The third component is ALA, alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. ALA supports healthy cell membrane function, reduces inflammatory signaling, and has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity in multiple clinical studies. A well-designed 12-week study focused specifically on postmenopausal women, the demographic that struggles most with belly fat accumulation, found that daily flaxseed supplementation led to significant reductions in waist circumference, visceral fat mass, and LDL cholesterol compared to the control group. And here's the thing I tell my patients. It didn't take a huge amount. It took consistency. 1 tablespoon per day, that's the target. But there's one critical rule. You must use ground flaxseed, not whole flax seeds. Whole flax seeds pass through your digestive system largely intact. Your body can't access the beneficial compounds inside. Ground flaxseed, on the other hand, releases everything. You can buy it pre-ground or buy whole seeds and grind them yourself in a coffee grinder in small batches. Store it in the fridge or freezer. Ground flaxseed can go rancid at room temperature. To add it to your coffee, stir in 1 tablespoon after your coffee is poured. It will settle slightly, just give it a gentle stir before each sip. The texture is mild, and many people describe it as adding a subtle nuttiness to the flavor. So let's bring this all together into something you can actually use starting tomorrow morning. I call this the Morning Metabolic Coffee Protocol. 3 ingredients, 1 cup, 1 habit. Here's exactly how to do it. Start with your regular coffee, brewed however you prefer. Black is ideal for metabolic benefits, but if you need a small amount of milk or a non-dairy alternative, that's fine. What you want to avoid is adding a lot of sugar or sweetened creamers, which work against everything we're trying to accomplish here. While the coffee is still hot, add your 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon. Stir it in. The heat helps it incorporate evenly. Next, add your 10 to 15 grams of hydrolyzed collagen peptides. Give it a good stir. It will dissolve completely within about 30 seconds. Finally, add 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed. Stir and let it settle for a moment. Give it one more gentle stir right before you drink. That's it. The whole process takes under 2 minutes. Now, here's an important detail about timing. For maximum metabolic effect, drink this coffee within the first 30 to 45 minutes after waking, before your first meal. When your body is in a fasted state, GLP-1 stimulation and AMPK activation both have a more pronounced effect on fat metabolism. You're essentially sending a strong metabolic signal to your body at the moment it's most receptive to that signal. I also want to be direct with you about what this is and what it isn't. This is a catalyst, something that consistently nudges your metabolism in the right direction day after day. Combined with a whole food diet and reasonable activity, the compounding effect over weeks and months is real. But this is not a replacement for healthy eating. It's not a magic bullet, and it's not a substitute for medical care. If you are currently taking medications for blood sugar, blood pressure, or cholesterol, please have a conversation with your doctor before making significant changes to your morning routine. Cinnamon and flaxseed in particular can have mild blood sugar lowering effects, and if you're already on medication, that's a conversation worth having. For most healthy adults over 60, these three ingredients are remarkably safe, well tolerated, and backed by a growing body of research. But I always want you to treat your health as the individual equation it is. Let me leave you with a quick recap